I finally feel like I have enough to make this theory thanks to the reveal in chapter 974. The best way I could summarize this theory is that I believe that the two Kurozumi elders were working for the world government. To start this theory, we will look at names. Just in case you don't remember, Kumadori was the Kabuki monk from CP9. Kumadori is actually his surname. His given name is unknown. Kurozumi means black charcoal, and Kumadori means black bird. Not the most crucial piece of evidence, but it's something. Okay, with that out of the way, let's figure out why a CP9 member could be linked to Wano. Kumadori is someone who looks like he's a first-generation immigrant from Wano. From the way he acts to his physical features, he pretty much lives as a kabuki actor and talks in a poetic manner often, while also believing himself to be a Japanese monk. He has pink hair, which many from Wano seem to have out of the ordinary hair. Even the Straw Hat's resident samurai is a green-haired Marimo. Now let's connect the Kumadoris to the Kurozumis and Wano to Cipher Pole. First, let's look at Orochi. I don't really have much to say about him, besides the fact that Kumadori's hair can make him look like a multi-headed snake. That's about it, but don't worry, I saved the worst for first. Next, let's look at the old hag, aka Kurozumi Higurashi. She's shown to be a priest of some sort, so she shares similarity with one of the three defining features of Kumadori. Kumadori considers himself to be a Sennin and uses a shakujo, a Buddhist monk style. Also, think about how perfect her powers are for Cipher Pole. There are two prevalent jobs of a CP agent, and one of them is spying. It'd be hard to find a better power for that job than the ability to copy appearances. Moving on to Kurozumi Semimaru. There's really not much to say about him because of how quiet he is, but that he's related to music and poetry like Kumadori. Kumadori often talks as if he's singing in a theater, and randomly says poems from time to time. His power is also perfect for a CP member. The other most important job is for them to be a bodyguard. Creating a barrier is just the power a human shield needs. Lastly, and the one most like Kumadori, is Kanjuro, the man who also lives his life as an actor. The name Kumadori is actually in reference to kabuki face paint, and Kumadori is both an actor and a painter. If anything, the name is more befitting Kanjuro Kumadori. Kanjuro lived as a spy and tricked a group of people into thinking that he was their dear comrade. The very thing a Cipher Pole agent would do. What Kanjuro did to Odin, CP9 did to Iceberg. Perhaps the talent runs in the family. Now for the big question. Is this a trivial connection or does it play a bigger role in the story? Here's what I think. The two elder Kurozumis were working for the world government and were possibly even Cipher Pole agents. Truthfully, they are most likely just working for Kaido, but there is a possibility that they answer to someone else and have their own objective. What makes me think that they might not have started out working for Kaido is the fact that Orochi implied that he had to have enough money to team up with Kaido. Higurashi and Semimaru had devil fruits of their own and even got their hands on the rarest devil fruit type that exists. I'm referring to mythical zone fruits. Not just anybody can do that. Kaido is probably resourceful, but he wasn't even a Yonko back then. If someone has easy access to devil fruits, there are two types of organization you'll most likely find them: the underground market and the world government. In fact, the clone fruit ended up passing on to Mr. 2 of Baroque Works, an underground organization. What connects the world government and the underground is the Cipher Pole. When the world government is known to get their hands dirty and deal with the underground, they use Cipher Pole to buy weapons, devil fruits, and even child slaves. It'd be interesting to see if the world government or Cipher Pole was involved in Kaido's origin story, considering the role Mother Carmel played in Big Mom's backstory. Also, that was another case of a rare and strong devil fruit, being in the hands of the underground/world government and being passed on to a pirate. And keep in mind that it is very likely that many of the children Carmel sold went on to be Cipher Pole agents. So here's what I finally propose. The two Kurozumis were Cipher Pole agents sent by the world government in order to have spies on Wano. They would take power from within by assuming the roles of members of the Kurozumi clan and making a member of the clan Orochi the shogun. Orochi would be the figurehead while the Cipher Pole/world government would rule from the shadows. The world government actually wants to rule Wano in secret because they no longer want to have to work with the underground. Due to the fact that Wano is a closed-off country, they can openly mass manufacture war-waging weapons in an isolated country. They don't care if Wano becomes an awful place to live for the vast majority. Wano citizens would only blame Orochi, and word would never get out to the rest of the world. The world government would appear to be squeaky clean. Now the two elders that are working undercover aren't actually from the Kurozumi clan, but rather the Kumadori. Within Wano is their own version of Mother Carmel, known as Yamanbako. The Kumadori clan has been secretly working for the world government for who knows how long. Yamanbako has been raising and selling orphans to the world government. She is also probably an agent of the Cipher Pole. Now where does Kaido play into all of this? I see two scenarios. First, Kaido approached Orochi, and the Snake Man took the pirate up on his offer. The two elders had no choice but to go along. The second is that the elders were actually the ones who introduced Kaido to Orochi and planned their alliance from the very beginning. I prefer two because I think it would be more interesting if the world government has something to do with Kaido's origin. Anyway, what ends up happening is that one way or another Orochi finds out that Semimaru works with the world government. The reason I say him as opposed to the old hag is because Kaido had her killed. Okay, so Kaido decides he doesn't want to work with the world government. Orochi then has to make a choice, side with the world government or Kaido. Seeing is believing, and he had never seen what the world government is really capable of. It only makes sense he'd pick Kaido. Besides, the Dragon God is already there, and to make him leave would require a war. To conclude, what does this do for the story going forward? Although chronologically, in the past we do have Kaido's backstory to look forward to. Perhaps he was sold to the world government by Yamanbako as her prized child soldier, similar to what also happened to Lin. It'd be interesting to find out that Kaido gets his tendencies to attempt suicide from the same person as Kumadori. Maybe this will even affect the upcoming war. The Paramount War started out as the Whitebeard Alliance versus the Marines. Then Impelled Down escapees, Blackbeard, and the Red-Hair Pirates joined in. Who will surprise us this time? Perhaps the world government's sword and shield will enter the fray. Kumadori might even show up again in the story. What if he has been in Wano this whole time? He sure would have no problem fitting in. That's it for Food for Thought. I made it short and sweet, but if you'd like to hear me elaborate more, then stick around for the secret ending. Would like Food for Thought? Then check out the rest of my channel. Want to see some actually well thought out analyses and theories with a bunch of evidence to back them up? Well then check out my series Deep Dive. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked that theory. Almost all of my prior One Piece videos were about Haki, so it's very refreshing to do one that's about the current story and speculating upcoming events. The Cipher Pole playing a big role may seem out of left field at first, however it makes sense when you think about how much espionage is going on in this arc. You got Kumurosaki, who is actually Hiyori, Kiyoshiro, who is actually Denjiro, Kamazo, while he wasn't actually spying, he was still on the wrong side of things since he was Kira. Most of the Straw Hats were pretending to be people that they weren't as well. Frankie was particularly interesting because he initially was in the story as someone trying to keep his blueprints away from spies, and now he is the spy trying to steal blueprints. And then there are double agents such as Drake and Kanjuro. With all things considered, it's perfect art to involve the Cipher Pole. It'd be interesting and make complete sense to see a main character develop PTSD and trust issues after all of this. Okay, so I'm going to finish this secret ending by recommending that you watch Understanding Haki Part 1 and 2. But I also have a preview to show you the next video I'm working on. It's also about the Cipher Pole. I will be showing how it is that Rokushiki is Haki.
Our abilities far exceed those of a normal human, as you can see. After many years of training, we've mastered an art called the Six Powers. These techniques transform the body into a living weapon with the strength of over 100 men.
To start off this theory, let's address a blaringly obvious concern with CP9 and Haki. Why would the world government train elite warriors from childhood and not teach them Haki? Well, according to my theory, the answer to this is that they were teaching them Haki. It just wasn't under the name Haki. Off the first impression, it would seem that Haki and Rokushiki are not related. Haki is based on spiritual powers and Rokushiki is about maximizing a human's physical capabilities. However, when you really look at what Rokushiki is capable of accomplishing, you'd realize that there are supernatural elements to it that go way beyond the suspense of disbelief. For example, those that master Kamiye are capable of freely moving their body as if they were as malleable as Play-Doh. Not even a rubber man like Luffy can do that under normal conditions. This changed for Luffy when he learned Haki. In order for Luffy to use Gear 4, he must have Haki. The question is why? Well, it's because Armored Haki does more than just make Luffy's skin harder, which is similar to Tekkai. It allows him to freely move his body, like with Kamiye, and fly, like with Geppo. Basically, how I see Rokushiki is that it is like an incomplete version of Haki, which is something that already occurs in One Piece. Mantra is a concept that focuses just on observation Haki. However, the two are considered the same thing despite Mantra not covering all the bases that Haki does. Ryo is a power that focuses on Armored Haki, more specifically Advanced Armored Haki, which involves a spiritual aura. And once again, Ryo doesn't see the bigger picture like Haki does, yet they're still considered the same thing. What I propose is that Rokushiki also focuses on Armored Haki, except as opposed to Ryo, where the focus is on the spiritual, Rokushiki is accomplishing what is possible through the physical applications of armament. This means a master Rokushiki can make their exterior harder or shapeshift, but can't use it to bypass Devil Fruit powers or shoot an energy wave. But hold on, isn't there a power that can be used once mastering Rokushiki? In other words, a technique that is more advanced? The Rokugun is an attack that doesn't actually need to touch its target, and does internal damage. It has been shown to do no damage on the front of what is being attacked, but rather do damage out on the other side. It also was capable of harming Luffy despite his Devil Fruit powers making him rubber. Doesn't that sound familiar? Perhaps the first 6 powers are Root Chakra and the 7th is Sacral. If you watch Understanding Haki Part 2, then you understand why I'd reference Chakra. In fact, I'd advise you watch Part 1 if you'd want to properly understand the rest of this theory. But I'll give you a little summary. Basically, all you need to know is that Haki means Supreme Chi, and the words Ki and Chi are interchangeable. I believe a fair question to ask would be, why call it Haki instead of just Ki, like in Dragon Ball? Well, isn't it obvious? It's Oda's subtle way of saying his story is better than Toriyama's. Psych! The real reason I think it's called Supreme Ki is because regular Ki itself is already a thing in One Piece. Allow me to clarify. Ki from Dragon Ball universe is unrealistic because as you and I know, you can't shoot energy beams from your palms. I believe that the Ki from One Piece is pretty much the same as the Ki as it's described in real life. Also note, Ki and Chi are the same thing, and Chi can be written as Chi, although it's properly spelled Qi. In Dragon Ball, realistic Ki and the exaggerated Ki are all one. I believe One Piece splits it up into 2. You have just plain old Ki, just like it is IRL, and then you have Haki, which is the supernatural version of Ki, hence why it would be known as Supreme Ki. Energy is everywhere, and in everything, there is energy. We have centers in our body that are conductors for this energy. These energy centers are called chakras. Through these chakras, we take in and send out energetic vibrations on many different levels, such as body, mind, heart, and soul. Each chakra has a different color associating with it, and each color has a different vibration. Now what we're going to do is figure out which type of Haki is associated with which frequency. The first 3, which are root, sacral, and solar plexus, are associated with the physical. That should give you a hint of which type of Haki this would be. The root chakra is associated with the element of earth, so of course the Haki that involves hardening is the one you should look towards. The root chakra is the one most linked to the physical body, and Rokushiki focuses on maximizing the physical body. Spirit isn't just mystical abilities, but can be described as willpower. Don't think for a second it doesn't take willpower to train your body day in and day out to the point in which you can stab things with your finger like a pistol. Not only that, Rokushiki is almost like treating one's body as a weapon that they will then give their will to. For example, when Kumadori controls his hair, it's very similar to how Marigold does the same. Or when Luffy tells his arm to chase someone, as if his arm has a consciousness of its own. Hey, did you like that clip? Then go check out the entire video on YouTube. There's a lot of detail and hard work that went into this. I promise you, it's well worth it. As a community, let's show the world just how amazing and how serious they can take our favorite characters and stories. It will change the way you perceive and appreciate the story.